It's good to have you here. So today's practice, we're going to be supporting the immune system. We'll be doing that with a few different tools, starting with some energy work, some qigong, to get us into our energy system and to get into a little more of the subtleties of self-healing. And then we'll do some gentle movements for the lymphatic system, some massage and some basic movements with breath. And then we'll follow that up with some deep restorative postures using the props. So if you're just tuning in for this practice, we're going to need a strap or a belt, a regular household belt, a couple of blocks if you have them. A couple of blankets is helpful, and a pillow or a bolster. And you can use household items, stuff from your bed and around your house, no problem. If you have, today's a nice sunny day in Toronto, so if you have something to cover your eyes when we go into the rest practices, that would be really helpful. So the immune system, the way we're going to approach the immune system is first through what the Chinese call the Jade screen. Okay, so this is kind of shoring up the energy system. The Jade screen is this invisible screen of energy that we have around our bodies. It's our defensive energy, and when we're stressed, when we're tired, when we're depleted, that force field of energy gets depleted. So we're going to start with an exercise I really like to do, a qigong exercise to build our jade screens and become more sensitive about the focus for our practice today. So you can do it sitting or standing. I'm going to do it standing so you can have a better look at what I'm doing. So this first part, we're going to really feel our feet grounded on the ground, on the earth, and we'll take a breath in as we raise the arms up, and we're going to imagine that we're reaching up and grabbing a little mini sun, like a ball of energy, and as we breathe out, we're going to bring that ball of energy down in front of the torso. Okay, so let's do that a few times. So inhaling, nice and simple, the arms up, grabbing that invisible ball of energy like a beach ball sized little mini sun. And again, inhale, raise the arms up. And breathe out. Slowly bring the hands in front of the navel. Now, here's where it starts to get interesting. If you've ever done this before, you can start to get the feeling like there's some matter between your hands. So you can kind of squeeze a little bit between your hands. Imagine this ball of energy, the source of strong light. If that's difficult to do, you can use a candle or just look out the window at the sun so it reminds you of this energy field between our hands. And let's do it one more time. So we're going to inhale the arms up, priming ourselves to feel this energy field inside and around us, and exhale, bring the hands down. Now this time, just in front of the heart. And again, just feel the squishiness, a little bit of squishiness between the hands. Relax your shoulders, relax your body, and just try to feel the energy between your hands. And then we're going to bring this energy now towards the heart, direct it in towards the chest. And you can just kind of rub your hands, just wave your hands over your heart center. And you might feel a little like tingliness inside the chest, and that's what we want to connect to. So we're bringing this energy inside the center of the chest, okay? And here we have the thymus gland, which is a really important gland for the immune function. So we're going to breathe in and imagine that we're drawing this energy, this light, up past our chest, past the face, go past the head, and you're going to stop at the top of the head. Now I want you to imagine, you can do this with your eyes open or closed the first time. You just listen to my voice. Imagine a column of light down the center of your body, down your spine. Okay, so imagine that your spine was made of light, a tube of light. And then you're going to inhale as you pull this light up about 6 inches above you. And on your exhale, we're going to surround the physical form like we're making a cocoon, this jade screen, this field of energy around the body, and just let it, imagine that it's extending down past your fingers into the earth and tucking underneath your feet. Okay, and we'll repeat that. So inhale the arms up, gathering the energy around the field of the body. As you exhale, bring it down. Imagine this little beach ball size, this squishy ball of energy between the hands. Direct it into the heart center. Feel it filling your chest. Take an inhale here. Expand it. As you exhale, bring it up. Slowly past the chest, past the face, to the top of the head. So these exercises these Qigong exercises are subtle. Sometimes it's hard to tell whether you're doing it right. That's okay. Just keep working with it. Inhale the arms up about 6 inches above you. And on your exhale, surround the physical form of your body with this sheath, this cocoon of light. And tuck it underneath the legs. And we're going to repeat that 2 more times. So inhaling up. At first, when you first do this, like anything subtle, exhaling down, it's like you're just going through the motions. But with practice, you're training yourself to feel these subtle energy pathways in the body. Okay, so it's kind of a little bit like your breath, but even more subtle. Squishiness between the hands, and then you can kind of wave it over the heart center, so you're waking up the heart space. You might feel a little excited inside. That's good. And then we inhale that light, that excitement up past the face, past the head to the top of the head. Exhale here. Inhale, pull it up about 6 inches above you. This time you might want to take one hand forward and the other hand back. So it's three-dimensional, this three-dimensional cocoon. Extend it down through the earth, underneath your feet. And then let's do one more. So inhale the arms up, relax the shoulders. So you're working with your energy. Exhale, gather the ball of energy back into your heart. Draw it in, concentrate it in your heart space. Take an inhale there, expand it, and then bring it up through the body like a column of energy past your face, past your head to the top of your head. Inhale here. Exhale, pull it up about 6 inches, and then maybe the other hand forward, the opposite hand back, surrounding the body with this image of light, this force field, this jade screen. And then you can just relax your arms by your sides, or if you're sitting in your lap, your hands can just rest there. And then just close your eyes for a moment and imagine your physical structure surrounded by this full spectrum light. It contains all the colors, all the frequencies. And this light has the capacity to heal you. This chi energy, this pranic energy has the capacity to heal you, to make you whole and strong and vital. You feel that now. It's expanding into the space of the room. Maybe it's a little warmth like sunlight on your skin. Okay. And then we'll set for ourselves a kind of an intention here for our therapeutic practice. So just remember why you're on your mat today, what you hope to get out of it, out of this practice. What are you becoming? Because our bodies are energy, okay? So we're made up of energy, and our thoughts and our intentions start to steer the kind of way that you want to feel. So just really connect with that, whether it's just, a word or a feeling or an image of yourself is really vital and strong and healthy, relaxed and centered. Okay, good. And then we'll let that go. We're going to open the eyes. And we're going to work now with some self-massage. So again, I'm going to do it standing, but feel free to sit at any point during this, okay? So I want you to just start to massage in and around your right pectoral muscles, okay? So you can get in underneath your armpits, okay? Maybe it's a little bit ticklish in there. Just get in there, and underneath your collarbone, you can dig in there a little bit, and then behind your collarbone and up, pressing down into your upper traps, just releasing any tension there. You can go back and forth, side to side, maybe making some circles, working your way up the sides of your neck, the large muscle, the sternocleidomastoid on the side, just pulling that, releasing that. And then when you get up to your jaw, you can just make sort of vertical motions in your jaw and then behind your ear, and maybe with your fingertips or your finger knuckles, just working out from your sinuses, the frontal sinus here at the top of the head, okay? And we're just opening up this lymphatic pathway which drains into this main drain, the armpit. So we have 4 main drains, the groins and the armpits, that we're going to start to work into. So just finishing off that side, and then we're going to tap down the outside of the right arm and up the inside. And down the outside and up the inside. Down and up. And you're just tapping just behind your collarbone there, helping out your lymph flow down the outside and up the inside. Last time. Good. And then we're going to do the same thing on the left side. First, just massaging any tension. You can grab the tissue of the pec on the left side and maybe stretch the arm back a little bit, just opening up that tissue up to the collarbone, working behind the collarbone, just forward back motions, and the traps. You can dig your fingers in there and then working up the sides of your neck. Just squeeze and pull, squeeze and pull. So the lymphatic system, unlike your circulatory system, doesn't have your heart, and then we're going to go up and down, doesn't have your heart to pump the lympha. So we have to use these massage techniques, movement, bouncing, shaking, different ways to get into the lymphatic system, working with your knuckles from your sinuses down the sides into this drain, just opening this drain above the forehead, working down, and then we're going to tap down the outside and up the inside. Down the outside and up the inside. Sometimes when you work on circulating your lymph, you feel a little bit of tingliness. That's a good sign. Feel like things are moving, waking up. Okay, good. And now let's go to our groin. So I want you to use your thumbs or the heels of your hands just to push down. So you're bending your knees, you're pushing down, and then you can move your hips forward and arch back a little bit, and then bend your knees and push down into your groin. So right in the crease there, and then forward, maybe making a couple of circles in your hips. One way, so you're loosening up the lower 2 drains. Okay, so lymphatic system is pervasive through the body. It's basically your plumbing, the plumbing of your immune system. We want to open up these main connectors, okay? And then we're going to tap down the outside of the legs and up the inside. Down the outside and up the inside. Good, last time. Okay, great. And then from here, we're just gonna shake it out a little bit, bending your knees so you're not putting any shock into your lower body, up and down with your heels. So I like this idea that the Achilles tendon is the closest thing that we have to a lymphatic pump, because anytime we do shaking, bouncing, jumping, we're helping the lymphatic system. You want to relax the arms. Okay, last just short standing bounce. Okay, and then we're going to do the exact same thing as we just did, but lying on our back. So I'll show you. So I'm pointing and flexing my toes, and I have a slight bend to my knees. This is really important so your heels stay on the ground. And then I'm going to just simply rock my whole body by pointing and flexing my toes. Okay, so let's do this for about 3 minutes. If you get tired, you can just rest, stop and rest. Okay, so a rhythmic sort of motion, pointing and flexing the ankles. Okay, we're using this both to improve the circulation of the lymphatic system, but also just to start to notice now, tune into where there's any tension. So wherever you're not able to let this wave that you're creating through the fluid body, just move through. So maybe you might notice your jaw is clenching or your shoulders are clenching. So anywhere that you're bracing, just let this little rock give you feedback, because those bracing parts, the parts where you're tensing, you're not really going to be able to move that easily. Okay, so if I'm really tensing and I try to point flex my ankles, my whole body's not going to move, just parts of my body. Okay, so I want to really relax everything above my ankles. And I'm just pointing and flexing. Okay, 1 more minute here. Very good. Keep going. Pointing and flexing. Relax your jaw, your face, your shoulders, your belly, your internal organs, your legs, your hips, your fingers. Tuning in to see if you're relaxed as you point and flex. So you've got this kind of like baseline of this shaking movement, and behind that baseline you're just seeking out, is there anywhere I can just soften a bit more? My shoulders and my jaw, my face, and I soften a bit more. Okay, really good. And then let's let go. So just let your legs fall out to the sides and observe your body. You might feel, even in stillness here, that there's some motion, right? Which is true, because even when we're still, our circulation, the capillaries, the exchange between the cells, okay, all the cells are moving, the lymphatic tissue is moving, the lympha is moving, okay, you're making space. So a lot of this practice that we're going to be doing today is kind of about getting out of the way of your innate systems. Okay, so through tension, through holding, through bracing, through anxiety, through stress, we tend to interfere with the nature of the body. Okay, so now let's include our breath in some really gentle movements. So inhale and raise your arms up over your head. Your feet can come together and just do a full body stretch here. And then as you exhale, I want you to bend your right knee and pull it in towards your chest. So bending your knee. Let's give it a little hug and just find the bottom of your exhale. And then we're going to inhale and reach the arms again. And exhale, we'll bend the left knee and pull the left knee in. Okay, so we're working again with those lymphatic drains in the groins. We're inhaling to stretch and lengthen. And then we exhale and we're compressing the right groin. Squeeze the air out. exhale, exhale. Do a little hold at the end of the exhale. And then inhale and reach your arms. And exhale the left side. Squeeze, find the bottom of your exhale and do a little hold. Good. Inhale and stretch your arms. And one more time. Exhale, right knee bends in. A little hold at the bottom of the exhale. And then release it for the inhale. And then exhale, the left leg comes in. And a little hold at the bottom of the exhale. Squeeze all the air out. Good. Inhale, stretch the arms, lengthen. And then we'll do both knees. So we're going to bend both knees in, give a little squeeze. And inhale. And reach. Exhale, bend your knees and give your knees a hug. Okay, and just squeeze all the air out. So you're using the legs to squeeze the lympha, but also to get all the air out of the lungs. And then inhale, last time, reach the arms. And exhale, bend the knees, give the knees a little squeeze, and hold at the end of the exhale, just a short hold. Good. Inhale and place your feet on the ground. And now we're going to focus on creating this pumping action like we just did for the groins in and around the armpits. So rhythmically with the breath. Okay, so start with your hands at your sides. The knees are bent, feet on the floor. We're going to inhale the hips and the arms up. Okay, so the arms are going to come overhead as the hips come up. So we're stretching the groins. As we exhale, we're going to lower the hips and lower the arms. Okay, and again, inhale, lift the hips, lift the arms, and exhale, lower the hips and lower the arms. And pause at the bottom. So you're empty. And then inhale one more time, lift the hips, lift the arms, and exhale, lower the arms and lower the hips. So we're going to lengthen the exhale by adding back in the first movement. Okay, so let's inhale, lift the hips, lift the arms. And then as we exhale, we'll lower the hips, lower the arms, and hug the knees in. So it's a longer exhale, kind of double exhale, and a little hold at the end. And then inhale, feet come down, lift your hips and your arms. And exhale, lower your hips, lower your arms smoothly, slowly with your breath. And try to lengthen each exhale. We're going to do this 8 more times. Go at your own pace. And each time, see if you can add a little more length to your exhale and a little bit more length to the hold at the end of the exhale. So maybe it's 5, 6, or 7 seconds with a little 7 or 8 second hold at the end. Okay, so just go at your capacity. Keep going. And when you've finished the 8th time, you can just rest. Okay? Or you can always take breaks through this. Okay? So go at your own pace. Pumping the lympha, using the breath, using the holds to down-regulate the nervous system. Okay, so the exhale is related more to your relaxation response, especially the end of the exhale. But if you force it, you'll do the opposite. You'll create stress, you'll create internal anxiety and conflict. So just work with your capacity, nice and easy. Just try to lengthen each and every exhale a little bit more. Okay, finishing up the last few rounds here. When you're done, you can just relax and straighten your legs.
when we get into the breathing and the gentle movements in this way, we want to see, even though it's simple, if we can really cultivate this quality of care, of being into it, of taking care of yourself, moving and breathing, this deliberate practice, just simple movements that maybe we do at other times, but big difference now as we really take our time, as we care for ourselves, and take this time to make a little bit more space. So at the end of each exhale, hold a little longer. Okay, last time if you're still going. Good, and then when you're finished, straighten your legs and just rest. Observe your body. And feel the effect of just breathing and moving, having created some compression in your groins, some expansion in your armpits, in your groins, and compression. So that's the key here, is really bring that exchange to help our lympha. Okay, so now we're going to bend our knees and we'll roll to the side so we can get into our first supported position. Okay, so I'll show you a couple ways to do this. So if you have a strap, a yoga strap, great. If not, you can just use a regular belt. You're going to place that around your legs. And I want my legs to be about hip distance apart. Okay, so the purpose of the strap is just to hold the legs there so you don't have to use any muscular effort. All right, so now I'm going to show you a variation with a block, but you can also do the variation with a bolster. Okay. By the way, the sequence we're going to be doing comes from this little deck that I created with my friend Janet. It's got a bunch of restorative poses in it. This one's the immune building sequence. Okay, so here we're lifting our hips up, and we're going to take a measurement, which is, the measurement I want to take is, what is my comfortable, natural max range of motion? And then I want to back up to about 50-60% of that. Okay, so for me, that's about here. Okay, so that means that I could come up higher, but I'm at the end of my range of motion. So for this restorative pose, I want to come to about 50-60%. So I want to be quite comfortable. Okay, and then from here, you can have your arms out to the sides, okay, by your sides. You can also, like I said, do the same position with the bolster. Okay, and if you're using the bolster, it's exactly the same thing. It's just a little softer, okay, or a cushion. Especially if you don't have yoga blocks, just use a few pillows underneath your hips. Okay, so I've got now my feet underneath my knees. My shoulders are relaxed by my sides, and I've got my arms by my sides as well. Okay, my shoulders roll open, so my chest, my collarbones are open. My throat is relaxed. My eyes are closed. Okay, if you have a little extra something like an extra piece of clothing that you can put on your eyes, that would be awesome. Okay, it's totally optional, like a t-shirt here that you can just place on your eyes. Okay, so we're going to hold this for a few minutes, okay, and I'm going to encourage you now to just notice, as you're resting here, just notice any surface agitation. Okay, so you don't need to change that. In this art of rest, this portion of our practice would be like the art of rest. We're simply noticing what is there. We're making space for all the feelings, all the emotions, all the thoughts. And you can't screw this up. Okay? This is just about existing.
and resting in your birthright, your natural presence. The former head of the Harvard Medical School Mind Body Institute wrote a book about what he called the relaxation response. That's Herbert Benson. And he described 4 things that we need to actually combat stress and strengthen this more centering, grounding, relaxation response. Because we have a fight or flight response, a stress response, but we have an equally powerful relaxation response, the parasympathetic response. So the first thing is this idea of a comfortable posture, relatively comfortable posture. So you're in this sort of 50% of your range of motion. There might be some like little bits of physical sensation, that's fine. Okay? The second thing is a safe space. So imagine most of you right now are in your homes right now. You're lucky to have a roof over your head and the internet that you can connect with the outside world, but just recognize that you're in a safe space. It might not be perfect, but it's a safe home, it's a safe space. And let that feeling of being safe, okay, this is not the same as being certain, okay, of being safe, even in the unknown. Let that feeling of being safe just register in your belly. So your belly softens. It's like, I can exhale. I can just be here now, and there's nothing to do. I don't have to figure anything out. I can be here now. The third aspect is what he called a mental focusing tool. Okay? This is about deep rest, and it's completely fine if you disregard all of my prompts, all of my cues, and just have a nice nap. Okay, so that's totally fine. If you're really tired, your body's going to need that. So a mental focusing tool would be similar to something like the breath or physical sensations, the feeling of the energy moving through your body. Maybe you have a mantra that you like to use and repeat to yourself. Some sort of practice, some sort of centering practice that you can use when your mind starts to wander, or if you spiral into some thought train or anxiety. But you have something to come back into the present moment, into your body. And the fourth thing, perhaps the most important thing, is just that it's no big deal. That you're giving yourself permission that it's okay to rest. It's no big deal. And we could call this equanimity. We could call this being easygoing. Okay, so in this moment, just notice where you're uptight, where you're trying to even get this practice perfectly so you can have the most brilliantly strong immune system. Just let that go. So let nature move through you. Let your own nature, the healing power of your creative life force, do its thing. And so just a couple more minutes here, resting in the bridge posture.
Okay, so in a moment, we're going to come off the support. But before we do that, I want you to use the muscles that you'd use to lift without lifting. So you're squeezing your hips, pressing down to your feet, squeeze and relax. And squeeze and relax. And do that 2 more times, just priming those muscles before you lift up. Remove the block off to the side or the bolster. You can slide forward and just rest your hips down on the floor. When you're ready, bend your knees into your chest. Just give yourself a little hug again. And then we'll roll to one side so we can use the hands to come up and remove the strap, okay, if you're using the strap. Again, all of these props, you're just, think about mostly that we're making these kind of archetypal shapes and supporting them. So all the props are optional. In the restorative deck, I give different versions with lots of props and with no props at all. Okay, so the next position we're going to do is a counter pose. It's child's pose. Okay, so I'll show you a couple ways. If it's comfortable sitting on your heels, you can do the way where you just rest your weight on your heels and then you come forward. You're going to rest your head off to one side. Your arms are just resting out here. Okay. If your knees don't like being in this position, an alternative to that would be to place one block or a rolled up blanket, okay, in the middle of your practice space here, of your mat, and then the bolster would come on top of that, and that forms a kind of a rounded seesaw. Okay, then we're going to straighten our legs and we'll rest the hips on one end and the head, depending on the length of your spine. You might need a little bit of support here with either the blocks or the blanket on the other end. Okay, so straight leg version or bent leg version of child's pose. Okay. In this position, we're compressing the groins, and we're going to move in the sequence between pose and counter pose so that we can get this kind of deeper sensation of resting between these opposing movements. This position, okay, is all about going in. So closing the eyes again and notice any surface agitation. If you feel, even in the transition between the postures, any way that your mind is taking you out of the present moment, out of your body. Take a couple breaths to center yourself again. Giving yourself this gift of rest, just for a couple minutes here. Noticing tension in your shoulders, in your face, in your jaw, and let that go. Noticing holding in your hips and your lower back, and let that go. Noticing if there's any way that you're propping yourself up, bracing yourself up with your arms. Is there a way that you can let the supports of the cushions and the props that you're using support you? And again, there's that relative sense of comfort. There might be this feeling that you need to fidget and find the perfect position, but you can also let that go. You're relatively comfortable, and you can soften. If your head is turned to one side here, you might just switch the direction of your head for the
for the second half of the timing. Okay, just a couple of minutes to soften, to take a break, to be with yourself, to care for yourself. Remembering that it's that most important quality, the equanimity of just, it's no big deal. Can't really mess it up here. You're just learning to rest. We have this container of the practice, this dedicated time to be with ourselves, to rest. And so see if you can be fully present with this practice of rest. Okay, and then let's slowly use our hands to peel ourselves back up to all fours. Maybe tapping out your feet. And then we're going to move into the next posture, which will be another counter pose. Okay, so we're going to sit halfway up on the cushion with our legs stretched out. I want to take the strap now around the thick part of my calves. So that's not really the middle of the calf. It's going to be up closer to the knee. So it's going to be up here. Okay, so I'm placing the strap right at the thicker part of the shin. Okay, and that again is just so that my legs can stay together for this one. And I'm going to be able to let my legs fall out to the sides. So you can do this with the legs stretched out, like so, or you can place another set of supports underneath your feet, your heels, and your calves. So a couple of options there. And then either way though, we're going to lie back. Bring this closer to me. I'm going to lie back so that my head, shoulders, and arms are on the floor. Okay, so if I'm not far enough back, I'm going to be up here. This is really uncomfortable. And if I'm too far back, I don't really get the opening in the chest. So I want the bottom edge, the short edge of the cushion, to kind of create this sense of expansion in the thymus gland, in the heart center area. Okay, so you can adjust high, low until you find that sort of sweet spot. If it's hard on your lower back, you can always come back to the position we just did with the knees bent. Okay, so it's kind of like a variation of the first bridge we did. Okay, so here the arms can be by the sides, or if you prefer in the cactus variation, over the head. And again, we're just going to take this opportunity to rest. Each time that we switch positions, it's like you're shaking this snow globe, and the scene gets a little bit agitated, and then we just let the flakes settle. We let the energy of the body settle.
And just do a little scan the landscape, the external and internal landscape of your body. And notice if there's any ways that you're bracing. Is it possible in this moment to soften even a little bit? So you can come home to your body and rest. As you let go of bracing, gripping, of tension, you start to free up your body's innate life force. And you might feel sometimes you can just feel these spontaneous flows of compassion, healing energy as you care for yourself in this way. Taking this time to care for yourself so that you can be more available to the world, to your community, to your partner, to your children. You can show up really resting. As you rest, you're making space for whatever is unfolding for you. This real time, this real moment, whatever it is, making space. All the thoughts, all the feelings, all the energy. There's lots of room to be you. Final moments here. Is there a way you can soften your belly a little bit more? And notice the corresponding softening in your breath. Good. And then let's slowly wiggle our feet in. So our knees are bent. We're going to remember we're up on a little height here as we roll to one side. And then let's use our hands to sit up. And you can remove the strap. And then from here, we're going to come into another counter pose where we sit with cross legs, a loose cross leg. And the most basic form of this would be forehead resting on the cushion. If it's not comfortable to sit with cross legs, you can always straighten your legs. Okay, that's an option. Okay. If you have a chair, which I happen to have here, you can also use the chair as a great support. Okay, so the distance that you travel forward is really, again, going to be based on your range of motion. So let's say you come to here or all the way to the floor naturally, back up to about 50%, and that's where you want to rest. Okay. The idea here is that
it's not very restful to be at the end range of motion. Okay, so we want to find a softness at a comfortable range, 50 to 60%. And we'll do a shorter hold here, just enough to feel the release of the shoulders, the back body, the jaw, the face, the eyes. Those of you who are going a little bit lower with the cushion or blocks, you can build some support here. Get creative with your support. So bring the floor, bring the supports to you. Unclenching your jaw, your teeth, your face. And final moments here. And then we're going to slowly roll up, and we'll switch the cross of the legs. Okay, so it could be, again, the high height or the chair, okay, or going lower. You're honoring the difference between your right side and your left side. If it bothers your knees here, you can either prop up with a blanket or just feel free to straighten one or both of your legs. This is a soft, easy forward fold. No big deal. Resting here, relaxing your shoulders, your face, your jaw, your eyes. Last moments here. See how much you can yield, like a piece of silk over the supports. Notice where you're bracing. Without judgment, without anything extra, just soften. Come back into your body. And the head again is the last thing to come up. Slowly roll up. Next position we're going to do is legs up the wall. I'm going to use a chair here because I don't really have an easy bit of wall space. So that's a nice variation that I like. So you're going to sit, if this was the wall, I'd be sitting close to the wall, and then I just roll over and I'm placing my calves, in this case in the chair. If you're at the wall, you're resting your legs at the wall. Okay, so depending on the length of your legs and your comfort here, you have the option of bridging up and placing the cushion underneath your hips. Okay, so that's an option, okay, for both the legs up the wall and the legs up the chair or on the chair. Okay, if you have
that little extra piece of clothing to cover your eyes, you can cover your eyes. If you'd like a little extra lift under your head, you can use a little lift under your head. Especially helpful just to relax the base of the skull. But again, make it individualized for you. You can put little extra pieces in so that you feel really comfortable just taking this next few minutes to relax again. So with the legs inverted either on the chair or up the wall, we're working with gravity to support the stress glands, the adrenal glands, to support the lymphatic system, to take some rest for the legs. This is one of my favorite resting postures. It's a beautiful one to do at the end of the day. This helps your nervous system find the ground again. Settling in a little deeper, resting in a little deeper. Taking this time for yourself to recenter, to restore, to remember what's important. So easy to be pulled off center these days. So coming back with rest. Notice whatever is arising, thoughts, feelings, physical sensations, making space for all of it. And rest. Sometimes the practice of rest can be really restful, can be really deep. And other times the practice has a lot of turmoil, it has a lot of frenetic energy. You just become more aware of what's below the surface. And I think both can be part of a long-term practice. So whatever you're noticing today, just being with that the last few minutes here. Giving yourself permission just to feel what you're feeling. To experience whatever you're experiencing. Without it needing to be different. Might find is that even when you're feeling some inner turmoil, some distress, that you can still find a place of rest behind that. And that's where the art is. It's learning not to bypass what you're feeling, to feel what you're feeling, but to feel the sense of rest, of that witness consciousness behind whatever is unfolding. last few moments here.